Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm back with another polish pickup wish list video. So if you don't know, polish pickup, or PPU for short, is this monthly pre-order marketplace that takes place on the first weekend of every month. There's always a new theme and a ton of indie brands that get together to make polishes, but some brands also make other kind of hand and nail care products. As usual, I will save more of my thoughts on the theme, the polishes, my wish list for the end. For now, let's just look at the website. Okay, so here is the polish pickup website for this month. The pre-order is from the 2nd through the 5th, and the theme this month is book covers, which sounds like it could be interesting, but I'm not much of a reader, so I already am anticipating I'm not going to be too tempted by these. So let's just get into the nail polish, and starting with this first chunk here of these 2 rows. No surprise, the first one that's standing out to me is the Atomic polish. I am not going to be getting this one. I just want to look at it because it is so pretty. A Day of Fallen Night. Yeah, I can't say that I am familiar with this book, but this polish is so pretty. I am a little tempted by it, I'm not gonna lie, but it does also remind me of Mooncat's Moonrise, which is this more maybe orchid pink kind of base with, I think, maybe more of a cobalt blue shimmer. I think the shimmer in this is a little bit more of that like icy aqua blue, if that makes sense. So color wise, I know they are not exact, and therefore in my mind I'm already like, okay, but that means I can justify it. But I don't think I will, because I already have Moonrise. I also have Nailed It's Library of Dreams, which is also incredibly similar, but again, that's a little bit more like orchid. I feel like this pink I do like a little bit more. I'm not even gonna lie about that. This shade of pink specifically being a little bit more of that cotton candy, it's just so much more up my alley. But yeah, I don't want to add it to the wish list. That might change later in the week, but I'm gonna stay strong. So that really is it from this first chunk. I can't say I'm really tempted by anything else. Maybe the Cuticula Mic Drop Base Coat, because I have used that before. Not in this scent. The Tropical Oasis scent sounds really yummy though. Oh my gosh, yeah. Succulent passion fruit, yuzu, sparkling water, guava, mango. You know I'm a sucker for mango, but I have a lot of base coats. I don't need another one, but I do really like that product. So if you're in the market for a base coat and you love scented ones, I think you might really like that. But for now, let's just keep it moving. So I did see a couple of swatches of this Bee's Knees, which I think is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I also am kind of immediately reminded of Mooncat's Misery is my favorite color, but the flakies or shimmer particle in this is just a lot larger, but I feel like that moody blue color that's just what I'm thinking of. So I'm not tempted by it, but definitely another beauty. And this Bluebird, It's Been 100 Years, also immediately reminds me of Mooncat's Mercury's Tears, which again is a beautiful polish. I love how shifty it is, but I already have that one, so I'm just not tempted by this one. But if you don't have Mercury's Tears, I think this one might be a good option because it's a few dollars cheaper, I'm pretty sure, and I think the same size. Oh no, this is 15 milliliters. I'm pretty sure Mooncat is 12, so this would be a better deal. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this chunk here too. I'm not super tempted by anything else, so we can move on. And over here, I mean, maybe the Colores de Carol kind of stood out, but only because it sort of, in a way, reminded me of Danglefoot Polish's Irresistible, but I know they have completely different colored flakies. The Danglefoot has more of a blue cobalt sort of color, but I feel like the base of this one almost reminds me of that dangle foot, if that makes sense. And I was really bummed to not see that one come back for rewind. I was honestly really surprised. So it's one of those polishes that I have in the back of my mind that I'm hoping I could find a dupe for, because I know anytime that I share it, so many of you guys are like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Why did I skip on it? You know, it's one of those. This one is kind of close, but not quite. The only other one that I think is pretty interesting is this Cuticula. It's one of those flaky bombs that I'm not usually a fan of. I can imagine there might be like a rogue polish that looks pretty similar to this one, but this just gives me like Halloween kind of vibes in like the best way. So I think it does look really cool. I love the color combination, but as much as I love flakies, I'm not the biggest fan of like a super micro flake. I could see this one being tempting, but it's fine. I will live with the regret if it happens to come. So we can finally move on to page number 2. And okay, the garden path is the one that first stands out because it's just this really pretty color. But I actually, yeah, this kind of has like a hot pink glitter in here, which you would think I don't have a problem with that, but I kind of do. I actually don't love that in this. I feel like the base color alone would have been perfect. If this was like a hot pink reflective glitter, I think I would have liked that more. But yeah, as pretty as this one is, I am safe from it. This Femme Fatale one is actually really reminding me of a Watcha polish pickup shade. I think it's called, I actually don't remember the exact name. It's like jellyfish something, but it kind of looks like this. I don't think this is an exact dupe by any means. I think this one is a little bit more purple based, or maybe the shimmer in this, like the red shimmer, doesn't stand out as much as the Watcha, but it kind of has like a similar vibe, especially with like the red, purple, blurple combination and the blue reflective glitter. So just in case that's a polish that, you know, you were really missing out on, that you regret skipping or something, I feel like this one is a pretty decent alternative maybe, while not being an exact dupe. But you know what? I did just notice that this is 9 milliliters for $14. That is absolutely tiny. So even if you were lusting after that Watcha polish, I would say maybe wait. But okay, so the only other polish that I think is looking really beautiful here is Indie by Patti Lopez Wonderland, which I'm assuming, oh no, it's actually Peter Pan in Wonderland. I was assuming it was like Alice in Wonderland, but okay. This one is really gorgeous, but also feels incredibly familiar. I'm just trying to think, like it's giving me like a Mooncat vibe. I guess for Mooncat, the closest one to this is maybe pomegranate seeds, but that one has like larger flakies. Maybe, oh, you know what, I might be thinking of Starly's Sphinx, because I think that one is more similar to pomegranate seeds, but with like a much smaller kind of like orangey flaky, but it has that blue shimmer, that like berry jelly kind of base color. So super beautiful, but not tempted to add it to my collection because I feel like I would just be duping myself. I feel like there is also another one that is so similar to this, maybe from Potion Polish, but I can't remember. So I'll have a photo up either way if I was close with whatever I was thinking of. But yeah, there's definitely other polishes similar to this one, but it's still beautiful. If you don't have one in your collection, maybe this is a good one to try. I've actually never tried this brand before, but it looks really, really pretty. But okay, so we can go on to this next chunk, and okay, this is the one polish that I adding to Wishlist. It's Kathleen & Co.'s Follow Your Dreams. This is inspired by the book The Alchemist, which is one of my favorites. Oh, it's actually not in the description, but it's still just beautiful, beautiful book. I think, oh, here it is. Just the cover of it. The polish is like a perfect match. I can imagine this theme being so tempting for a lot of readers, so you guys will have to let me know like how many polishes you're excited over. I can see it also being very dangerous because of just, you know, the references. Like for me, this is the only one that I'm incredibly tempted by just the reference alone because it's one of my favorite books, but I also think the polish is absolutely stunning, just so breathtaking, and I'm pretty sure it's very unique to my collection. I did see Alyssa from Polish Bookworm swatch this on Instagram, and from the immediate first stroke, I did think of Potion Polish's Painted Sky at Dusk, but based off of all of the photos, like it looks like this just builds up to be a lot more of that like reddish orange kind of color. So Painted Sky at Dusk is like a little bit different. Maybe I'm crazy for, you know, trying to justify getting this one, but if there's only one that I can get from this month, it's gonna be this one. So yeah, other than that, I'm not super tempted by these other ones. I mean, this KB Shimmer one looks kind of pretty, but it's not really grabbing my attention, so I think we can just move on. And yeah, even from here, I'm not super drawn to these. Like, they're pretty in, you know, their own ways, but I'm just not tempted by any of them enough to add them to my collection. I think of these, the one that does stand out the most is the Nailed It polish, but like I already mentioned, I'm just kind of having this weird moment with like micro flakies where I like them on other people, but then when I wear them, I'm not super in love with it. So we can move on to page 3, which is the final page apparently. And okay, from here, the first polish that is standing out is Phoenix's Eclipse, which I'm pretty sure, yeah, is inspired by Twilight, which is also funny that it says inspired by Twilight movies, whereas the theme is book covers, but it's okay. We understand, you know, where the inspo is coming from. Love that. I've actually never seen Twilight before. My bestie is obsessed with the franchise, but it just was something I never got into. This polish is definitely very beautiful, but it is reminding me of a Kathleen & Co. magnetic from last year. It was also a PPU shade, I think inspired by Pearl Jam, but I'm blanking out on the name, but it really reminds me of this, where it's kind of that berry base color with this like red sort of shimmer. Super beautiful. So even if you're not a Twilight fan, if you were lusting over that Kathleen & Co., I think this one might be a really good alternative. This Rogue Drink Me, oh, this is definitely, yeah, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I love this one. I think it's so beautiful. I love the shifts here, but again, this one just kind of feels a little familiar. It sort of is giving the same sort of shimmery vibe from the Ostentatious collection, but this looks like it has a little bit of a deeper orchid pinky purple base. Oh, it's described as a plum purple. It's definitely a very light plum, but yeah, I'm not tempted to add this one, but it is really pretty. So that's pretty much it from here. This next chunk, the Sweetheart polish, hell of a book. Don't know the reference, but the polish itself is super beautiful. I feel like I would love this kind of shade in the fall, in the winter time. I can't really think of something that I have that is a dupe for this exactly, but I feel like I wouldn't regret it too much if I skip out on it. So yeah, the only other one from here I think is like the Wildflower lacquer that looks really gorgeous. I want to say this also feels familiar, but I really can't even think of what it could be. So yeah, I guess that's really it. The only other polish on this page is the Zombie Claw, which is really pretty. I do think this is a super beautiful polish, but again, it just feels so familiar, even though I'm having a really hard time just remembering what the polish is that I'm thinking of. I wonder if it's sort of like Nailed It's Compulsion, even though that one has flakies and this is just a shimmer. Not to mention this also glows in the dark, but that doesn't really make or break a polish for me. The color on its own is super, super cute here, but I feel like I just kind of have something like this. So even though I am tempted because of this swatch, I don't want to grab it only for me to then regret it later, you know? So since that's everything for nail polish, the last thing as usual that I want to check out is the KB Shimmer Scrub Apricot Freesia. I don't know if that's how you actually pronounce that flower. Inspired by flowers. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure this probably smells yummy, like really nice, beautiful. I love a good fruity floral sort of mix, but I can't say I'm super tempted by this one. I don't know. I guess maybe in other circumstances I would be tempted by this, but to be completely honest, I am planning on doing a little KB Shimmer haul, mainly because they do have some previous PPU scrubs available on their shop directly. Some of my favorites are the Fruit Loops one, the Bird of Paradise, which I feel like only came out this year, and while I was tempted by some of the other scents that I hadn't tried before, the main one that I'm interested in is the mango one, and I'm actually going to be picking up 2 of those. And even though with sugar scrubs I obviously go through them, I feel like adding this one as a third scrub, it's just gonna be too much, you know what I mean? So I am kind of tempted by this, but I think I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hope that it'll come back for PPU Rewind next year. So that's pretty much it. We can just look at my wish list, which is only 1 polish this month. And like I said, I am dead set on getting it. I know some people are like, oh, well, if I only have 1 polish, I'm just gonna skip it entirely. I mean, I've mentioned it a few times before that I just really hate the idea of paying shipping for just 1 polish. I'd rather just kind of split the shipping cost between 2 polishes or maybe a third, but I'm definitely okay with this being the one that I buy this month. But I gotta say, I really am so tempted by the Atomic one. It just is so pretty. I need to really convince myself that I don't need it, because where my logic is at now, like I mentioned before, I really love the base color in this one, and I think that I do like this more than Moonrise from Mooncat or Library of Dreams from Nailed It. But my problem is that I don't want to add this one and then get rid of one of the other ones, if that makes sense, because even between those 2, I feel like they are kind of like dupes, but I still just can't part with either one. Oh, but this one just looks so pretty. So maybe I will have to consider destashing. If anything, I guess between those 2, I would destash Mooncat, because the Nailed It one has a tie to like Animal Crossing, and so I would rather keep that one. So I feel like if I had to choose between the 3, this one I think would be up there. I know that there's some FOMO here, but I really am just kind of scared of regretting skipping on this one. It just is so pretty, and I feel like it's just the pink that I wanted Moonrise to be. So honestly, I think it just has to be one of those times where it's like, okay, I just need to see for myself which one I prefer. I think it's early enough in the week though that I can just add this to my wish list for now, mull it over for the next couple of days, go through my collection just to see if there isn't any other polish that would be a closer dupe to this, and potentially change my mind later. But if not, then my wish list is now just 2 polishes, and I'm okay with that. So that wraps up my August wish list for polish pickup. As always, I can't wait to hear what you think about my wish list or this month's theme and offerings in general. I definitely feel pretty lucky not being that much of a reader because I'm not super tempted by the references. I feel like a couple of months ago when they did the video games theme, I thought I was gonna be tempted, but there weren't that many references that I recognized, so it was easier to just look at the polishes objectively. And while there were definitely a lot of really pretty options this month, I feel like I was almost kind of bored by a lot of them too. So I'm really curious to know what you guys think about it. And also, Am I being crazy with the atomic polish one? Because I feel like I'm just going back and forth, where I can recognize it being a little silly maybe to want that polish when I already have so many that are kind of similar. I think the video before this one was my window shopping video, and so I'm talking about trying to be better at not buying all the polishes that I think are pretty, especially when it comes to ones that could be potential dupes in my collection. But I really do struggle when it comes to any kind of pink with a blue shimmer, so I almost feel a little embarrassed about wanting to get that atomic one. But again, I feel like comparing it to the Moonrise polish, the atomic one seems like it's more of the pink that I want it to be. I never really thought I would get to the point in my collection where I adopt that one in, one out rule, but I feel like I'm trying to do that here. So yeah, maybe a little silly, but at least I'm aware of it. Again, make sure to let me know any and all thoughts that you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.